Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Mandatory vaccination, just a matter of time for Trinidad and Tobago. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 17th September 2021. Details when we return.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the Food Fair from anywhere in the world? And you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
Welcome back. Mandatory COVID vaccination seems likely for Trinidad and Tobago. This from Dr. Nicole Ramlachan, who says that given the low levels of people getting vaccinated, it may be just a matter of time before private and public institutions take the next step. Vanessa Cutting of TV6 News reports.
With the number of fully vaccinated persons in the country hovering around 32% of the population and fewer persons coming forward daily to get vaccinated, one geneticist says it's just a matter of time before the powers that be move to implement a COVID vaccine mandate.
Whether it is going to be on an institution by institution level, private business by private business level, or in the case of the government publicly, and to be able to say one way or the other the direction we're going, because that's the only way that we're going to break this standoff.
Dr. Ramlachan stresses that while vaccination does not prevent infection, it does in fact reduce the capability of the virus replicating in your body, thereby improving your immune response and reducing the chances for the virus to mutate.
Between July and now, we have had 11 sequence variants of interest already. 11 have emerged in merely 2 months. So that's to tell you the level of mutation that we're still seeing out there. And we might eventually get to one of those variants of high consequence that we aren't able to fight with the vaccine or the monoclonal antibodies or with our therapies. And then we're going to be in big trouble.
However, at this time, the Delta variant remains a variant of highest concern. TNT has recorded 7 imported cases of this strain. The new variant is also being monitored worldwide.
People who've had COVID before aren't able to mount a good enough defense against these new variants. And they found that actually if you've had the original ancestral virus, that you are 37% less effective in terms of your immunity in protecting against immune.
To date, no cases of the new variant have been detected in TNT. Vanessa Cutting, TV6 News.
The Trinidad and Tobago Health Ministry is joining health experts across the world in debunking a rap star's claim that the COVID vaccine caused impotence and swollen testicles. The rap star is none other than Trinidad-born Nicki Minaj. More in this TV6 News special with Urvashi Tawari Rupnarayan.
Misinformation is scarcely the center of news at TV6, save for what medical experts across the world term an outrageous claim of Trinidad-born rapper, singer, and songwriter Onika Tanya Mirage Petty, known across the music world as Nicki Minaj. In response to a claim that a friend of her Trinidadian cousin suffered swollen testicles and impotence after taking a COVID vaccine, the Trinidad and Tobago Health Minister has no record of such an event.
One of the reasons we could not respond yesterday in real time to Ms. Minaj is that we had to check and make sure that what she was claiming was either true or false. And unfortunately, we wasted so much time yesterday running down this false claim. It is, as far as we know, at this point in time, there has been no such reported either side effect or adverse event.
The subject of ridicule on one end of the vaccination divide and a voice for the anti-vax movement on the other, it all came down to a waste of time for local health ministry staff.
And what was sad about this is that it wasted our time yesterday trying to track down, because we take all these claims seriously, whether it's on social media or mainstream media. As we stand now, there is absolutely no reported such side effect or adverse event of testicular swelling in Trinidad, or I dare say, Dr. Hines, anywhere else? None that we know of anywhere else in the world.
Arguably a bout of bad press for the country, but the rapper's tweet also presents a dangerous obstacle for a small island republic trying to use science and the theory of herd immunity to save its population and economy.
Her tweet certainly did not help, because people like her are social influencers, and they do carry some sway. So yeah, it certainly didn't help and will make our job a little harder, which we don't need right now.
Trinidad and Tobago has vaccinated approximately 32% of its population. Arvishi Tumari Rupnarain, TV6 News.
Over in Jamaica, Minister of Agriculture Floyd Green has resigned and apologized to the country after being caught on camera at a social gathering, failing to observe the COVID-19 protocols on a non-movement day. Details next.
Floyd Green has resigned as Minister of Agriculture. This comes just hours after a video surfaced with him attending a gathering, presumably on a no-movement day, in breach of COVID-19 protocols. Mr. Green said he met this morning with Prime Minister Andrew Holness and indicated that he will withdraw from the cabinet. In a statement, Mr. Green said, "No matter how briefly and regardless of the circumstances, I should never have participated in any engagement that could indicate a lack of appreciation of the difficult and serious realities that now face the entire country." He said, "My actions have demonstrated a lack of sensitivity for the difficult realities that all of us are facing currently." He noted that it was wrong, further noting, "I accept that this was an error in judgment and that it sends the wrong signal, especially in light of the government's drive to reduce the spread of COVID-19. For this, I am really and truly very sorry." Now, Mr. Green said he will work hard to regain the trust and regard of the Jamaican people. He noted that he remained 100% committed to serve the people of Southwest St. Elizabeth, where he is Member of Parliament.
The hurricane season is now upon us, so we as Caribbean people need to remember to think safety and be prepared. Avoid venturing outside during a storm or hurricane, especially if there are strong winds. Rooftops and other debris are often blown about and can cause great damage.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
Director of the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, Dr. Carissa Etienne, is urging countries in the Caribbean to place more focus on children and adolescents. She says the region has seen severe disruptions in the educational sector and more needs to be done. ABS's Shanakisha Francis has the details from the latest PAHO press briefing.
The PAHO director has stressed the importance of protecting the region's children and adolescent population. Dr. Carissa Etienne says it is important children and teens understand their risk of getting sick and the role they play in preventing COVID-19 transmission.
At the beginning of this pandemic, the virus was having a disproportionate impact on our elderly. And as a result, too many children and young people still do not think that they are at risk. And we must change that.
She says children and adolescents are also at risk of becoming severely ill.
When children get infected, they tend to have mild symptoms or none at all. But COVID-19 can cause severe illness in children and adolescents.
Meanwhile, she says this pandemic has been detrimental to our children's educational experience. Lockdowns and economic disruptions have increased the risk of domestic violence, and for many youth, homes may not be a safe place.
Experts agree that the pandemic has triggered the worst educational crisis that we have ever seen in this region. Our kids have missed more school days than children in any other region. And despite efforts to leverage virtual classrooms, these can never substitute in-person schooling.
Etienne states schools are not only places where children get an education, they are also places where children socialize and receive mental health support and most times a nutritious meal. Dr. Carissa Etienne was speaking at the weekly PAHO press briefing. For ABS News, Shanakisha Francis.
St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pear has promised to issue a formal apology to the Rastafarian community there for the suffering inflicted on them and their families over the years regarding incarceration for possession or consumption of small quantities of marijuana.
The passing of the marijuana decriminalization bill means that persons in possession of 30 grams of marijuana or less will not be incarcerated. This will also ease the strain on police officers, the court system, and the prisons, all of whom have already been stressed under the weight of the backlog of cases.
What we're doing this morning is we are decriminalizing the use or the use of small quantities of marijuana, 30 grams. That means that no longer will people be charged or arrested if they're in possession of 30 grams or less of cannabis. That doesn't mean that we are opening the floodgates. What we're doing is that we are removing the burden on the legal system of having to deal with one joint or so. That basically is what we're doing.
The Prime Minister also promised to issue a formal apology to the Rastafarian community for the pain and suffering inflicted on them over the years.
We are going to officially apologize. In fact, last week we passed a bill where we expunged from the records anybody who was convicted for use of small quantities of marijuana and also for COVID offenses. We think that was in a different era, a different time. Our system is overloaded, and we're going to cause a halt to that right now by ensuring that people do not get imprisoned for small quantities of marijuana.
The Rastafarian community has already applauded the government for what it deems to be a step in the right direction. For the DBS News World, I am Don Nicholas.
Hubbard's big promotion is back. Live free for 1 year. Spend $50 or more in any Hubbard's department and receive a chance to win big prizes every month. Property or vehicle insurance for 1 year. Free internet, cable and data for 1 year. Free fuel for 1 year. Free cooking gas for 1 year. Free electricity for 1 year. Free drinks for 1 year. Extra cash account and the big free groceries for 1 year. Promotion runs from April 1st to September 30th, 2021. Live free for 1 year with Hubbard's in association with Solgas, Flow, Grenadian General Insurance, Carib Brewery, Coca-Cola, Grenada Bottling Company, Grenlec, Communal Cooperative Credit Union, Dutch Lady Milk, Promo, Danny and Supreme. Terms and conditions apply.
I am Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.